and downs. Through the President J. Kufuor and President Nana Akufo-Addo periods, we succeeded to great presidents. Their achievements will stand the test of time. We have also learned useful lessons in how to improve some things in the future. We must remain resolute and consistent in doing the right things. Again, an army that wants to win a battle must exercise discipline within its ranks. Too often, when we are yet to choose leaders, indiscipline, unacceptable language, and unpardonable behavior become the order of the day. In the end, when internal competitions are over, the attacks we would have launched on ourselves become fodder and ammunition which our opponents use to attack us. We experienced it in the 2024 campaign, and we should not let it happen again a second time. This is why I call on all Kukrudikes to stop internal attacks now. Let's stop the internal attacks now. Let us rather focus on the attempt by the NDC to undermine our democracy and rule of law in trying to remove the Chief Justice. Let us focus on their clear intention to go after the Electoral Commissioner subsequently. Let us focus on the violence and thuggery their hoodlums carried out in the recent Ablekuma election, in full view of the police and cameras. I again call on His Excellency the President to bring the perpetrators to book and to remind them that the elephant never forgets. No matter how long it takes, we will prosecute the perpetrators when we assume office in 2029, inshallah. To the leadership of the party, I ask that you be firm and crack the whip so that discipline is maintained within our ranks. It is with discipline, humility, lessons learned, and the pursuit of a common good for Ghana that we can become the refreshed party we desire. Finally, in all our decisions today and in all our actions towards the reform process, let us be guided by the rule of what is in the best interest of Ghana. At dawn on December 8th, 2024, as I prepared my remarks to concede the election of 2024, my singular focus was on what's in the best interest of Ghana. I am fortified in my heart that as politicians, we should always be guided by what's in the best interest of Ghana at all times. What represents the best example to Ghana's children? What is in Ghana's best interest will always be in the best interest of the NPP. We cannot ever go wrong with that. Let us showcase it more and more as we reflect and rebuild. I have no doubt that notwithstanding the challenges ahead, of which there will be many, if we are united and disciplined and work hard, we will win the 2028 presidential and parliamentary elections by the grace of God. It is still possible. I wish us all a successful Annual Delegates Conference. God bless you. God bless the NPP, and God bless our homeland, Ghana. Salamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, the first national vice chairman of the new Patriotic Party, who stood in for national chairman. Thank you very much, the national treasurer. Thank you very much, the general secretary of our great party. Thank you very much, the greater national chairman who welcomed us to the Bishop. Thank you, Honorable John, for your who gave us a personal prayer. Thank you all of you who are working today. Thank you, His Excellency Nana Adonai Akufo-Addo, for your message, read on your behalf by our first female Chief of Staff, the Honorable Freeman Asusia Otai Opari. Thank you very much, His Excellency, the former President of Ghana, President John Ejeku Kufuor. Thank you all the speakers of today. Thank you for the messages that you've given to us. Thank you all regional teams. Thank you to our national executives who have been so actively involved and have helped to make this event a success. Thank you, organizing team. Thank you all of you who have contributed in various ways to make this event a success. And thank you, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for that deliberate message and for the confidence with which you have spoken to us today. Thank you to all the various speakers. Thank you to all the well-wishers. Thank you for all the fraternal messages that we have received today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all our 276 constituents across the country who are so well represented here today. Thank you for traveling from all corners of the country. Ensure that the 2025 Delegates Conference is a success. Thank you for all your efforts. We are so grateful. Without you, there would be no conference. Thank you to our honorable members of parliament. Thank you to our strong and capable minority leaders. Thank you for your speech. I'm an overcomer. Thank you once again to our general. Thank you to our national team. Thank you to all our strong speakers today for the contributions that you have made. I'm an overcomer. I say yes, we're in good enough. Yes, we're thank you. Over Satan power. I'm an overcomer.
fashioned against me shall prosper. For the greater one lives in me, yes it does, yes. It's wedding kunmo. See, I'm an overcomer. I say yes, wedding kunim. Yes, wedding kunim. How say?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Conference, we have gotten to a very critical and very important portion or a part of our program. Under the party's constitution, Article 19 is clear that any amendment whatsoever, whatever nature, whatever type, the kind of amendment, can only be effected by this body duly constituted and duly opened. On this note, the General Secretary, in accordance with the provision of the party's constitution, invited proposals for amendment of the party's constitution. After the proposals, again according to the constitution, the General Secretary circulated the proposals to the regional party and the constituency party. The amendment committee, made up of Frank Davis, the chairman, Idi Muhyiddin, the secretary, Honorable Patricia Appiagyei, member, Honorable Kojo Opong Nkrumah, member, Honorable Ebenezer Gilbert Nina Nate, also a member, Dr. Antoinette Tibudaku, a member, Honorable Diana Asunabadapa, a member, Dr. Ekuya Amuakon, and our very own Makafui Wanya, Volta Regional Chairman, also a member. Council put in place this committee to receive all of these proposals. At this point, I would invite the Constitutional or the Constitution Amendment Committee to come and guide us through all the motions put together so Council can do the needful. So let me invite the Frank Davis Committee, the Constitutional Amendment Committee, to come before conference, put before conference all motions so that conference will duly decide.
Yeah, we're going to start.
Kugrudu. Kugrudu. Kugrudu.
Presiding Chairman of Conference, the General Secretary of the party, His Excellency Dr. Alhaj Mahmoud Bawumia, former Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, all party faithful, friends of the media, both print and electronic, fellow party representatives, our distinguished elders of this great party, our distinguished delegates, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. This obviously is the climax of today's engagement, the 2025 National Annual Delegates Conference of this great party, the new Patriotic Party, NPP. Distinguished party faithful, in keeping with the tradition of the new Patriotic Party and in line with the spirit of the party constitution, the National Council of the party at this meeting on April 16, 2025, constituted a 9-member Constitution Amendment Committee following the submission of the report of the Professor Okoye-led 2024 Election Review Committee. The committee, which was subsequently inaugurated by the National Chairman on April 25, 2025, had the following composition: Dr. Ekwia Amwakun, member; Honorable Ebenezer Gilbert Nina Nate; Dr. Antoinette Tibudakun; Honorable Diana Asonabadapa; Honorable Makafui Wanya; Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah Esquire; Honorable Patricia Apiaje; Idi Muhayedin Esquire, Member Secretary; and of course my good self, Frank Davis Esquire, Chairman. The terms of reference of the committee included to identify provisions of the party constitution that require amendments in order to give effect to the recommendations of the Mike Okoye Election Review Committee, to work on the recommendations of the 2021 Constitution Review Committee chaired by Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, to receive proposals from party members and identifiable groups for amendments to the party constitution, to categorize the proposals into various articles and clauses for ease of reference, to make appropriate recommendations to guide the debate at the National Delegates Conference. In line with the party's tradition and the letter and spirit of the party constitution, particularly Article 19, the General Secretary, by a formal communication dated April 25, 2025, requested party members and identifiable groups who wish to propose amendments to the party's constitution to submit their written proposals to the Office of the General Secretary or send same directly to the committee via an email address set out for that purpose. Consequently, the committee received over 300 amendment proposals, both in hard copy and via the official email address. In pursuance of its mandate, the committee critically examined these amendment proposals, considered the Afenyo-Markin-led Constitution Review Committee, as well as the recommendations of the Professor Okoye-led Election Review Committee for constitutional reforms. The committee then examined the provisions in the NPP Constitution in respect of which amendments have been proposed and the Constitution as a whole. While streamlining and categorizing the proposed amendments under the various articles and clauses, the committee made recommendations for their acceptance or otherwise. Where appropriate, the committee also made some modifications to ensure coherence and consistency with other constitutional provisions, and more importantly, with the time-tested tradition and aspirations of the party as enshrined in the Constitution. Recommendations made by the committee were informed largely by the totality of the views expressed by the proponents, the underlying principles and traditions of the party, which ought to be respected and protected, while ensuring that the Constitution reflects current socio-political developments of the party in its forward march to advancing the cause of democracy and the rule of law. Fellow delegates, below are the motions formulated by the committee out of the amendment proposals that were submitted to both the General Secretary and committee by party members and identifiable groups for consideration and approval by the National Delegates Conference herein assembled. For the purposes of clarity and to make what we are about to do very distinct without any misunderstanding when we leave here, I'm going to set out the modalities for the run of the motions. I am going to take the motions seriatim from 1 to 56. After I have read out the motions, the justification for the motions will be read by another member of the committee in the person of Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah Esquire. After the recommendations, the motion will be put to vote, and we are going to have a voice vote, the ayes and the nays. Distinguished fellow delegates, party faithful, if I have your attention at this particular point in time, I would start the exercise in earnest. Motion number 1. To amend Article 1 of the Constitution to include the party's motto, symbol, and colors.
Justification. The absence of the party's motto, symbol, and colors in the Constitution is an obvious omission and ought to be rectified. The party's motto, symbol, and colors must find expression in the party's Constitution.
Fellow delegates, those in favor of motion number 1, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 2, Article 3(7). Amend Article 3(7) of the Constitution to give the power to recommend suspension of a member or an office holder pending disciplinary action against him to the appropriate disciplinary committee rather than the executive committee.
Justification. The amendment is necessary to ensure justified suspension of party executives, either elected or appointed by executive committees, only upon recommendation by the disciplinary committee pending disciplinary proceedings against such officers. It is the disciplinary committee that shall recommend suspension having regard to its preliminary findings.
Having heard the motion loudly and the justification, distinguished delegates, those in favor of motion number 2, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 3, amend Article 437. Amend Article 437 of the Constitution to allow for a complaint against any constituency or regional officer, whether elected or appointed, to be filed at 1 in the case of the constituency officer, the regional executive committee, and 2 in the case of the regional officer, the national executive committee.
Justification. The amendment seeks to achieve fair and equal treatment or handling of disciplinary matters involving elected officers and appointed officers who are at the same level of the party, by providing that they should be dealt with by the same disciplinary committee.
Having heard motion number 3, distinguished delegates, those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 4, amend Article 5(6). Amend Article 5(6) of the Constitution to adopt the Electoral Commission of Ghana's demarcation and cluster of electoral areas.
Chairman, the justification is as follows. The EC's electoral area systems are predetermined, bereft of controversies, and involve more polling stations than the party's demarcations of electoral area. The current provision in the party's constitution is that where polling stations under an electoral area exceed 10, an additional electoral area may be created. This lack of certainty and exactitude has triggered misunderstandings in the creation of some electoral areas. The adoption of the EC's electoral area system cures any such misunderstanding or perceived mischief.
Motion number 4. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 5. Article 6. I must say at this stage that this is a new provision. Amend Article 6 of the Constitution to provide for an electoral area executive committee structure made up of 5 members who shall all be elected, comprising the electoral area chairperson, secretary, organizer, communications officer, and electoral affairs officer.
The justification is as follows, Chairman. The current system requires limited expansion to allow for increased participation and support in the management of the electoral areas. A 5-member committee enhances operational capacity and ensures a more inclusive and structured approach to supervising polling station activities.
Distinguished delegates, those in favor of motion number 5, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 6, amend Article 6(1). of the Constitution to increase the polling station executives from 5 to 7, who are all to be elected, comprising the chairperson, secretary, organizer, women's organizer, youth organizer, communications officer, and electoral affairs officer.
Chairman of Conference, this committee respectfully recommends the one-man, one-vote system as a long-term electoral framework for the party. In the absence of the foundational structures for the one-man, one-vote electoral system, the proposed limited expansion, which, if approved, will represent a 40% increase in the Electoral College at the polling station level, is more realistic and manageable. It has the effect of increasing the Electoral College considerably while the party works on the recommended one-man, one-vote system. Respectfully submitted.
I now put the vote. Those in favor of motion number 6, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 7. Amend Articles 6.1, 7.2, 9.1, and 10.7.3 of the Constitution to split or decouple the position of research and electoral affairs officer at the constituency, regional, and national levels of the party.
Chairman, the amendment brings the needed focus and attention to each of the two responsibilities. Also, it is not every researcher who understands electoral matters and vice versa. Therefore, the recommendation is that separating the positions and appointing people with the requisite expertise to occupy the respective positions will inure to the party's benefit.
Those in favor, delegates, motion number 7, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes obviously have it. Motion number 8. Amend Article 7.2 of the Constitution to include the Constituency Research Officer, Electoral Affairs Officer, PWD, that persons with disability coordinator on the Constituency Executive Committee.
Justification. This represents a limited expansion of the Constituency Executive Committee and seeks to promote inclusivity and broader participation in party activities at the constituency level.
Delegates, those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 9. Amend Articles 7.5, 9.2, and 10.7.3 of the Constitution to make communication officers at all levels of the party elected from the polling station, electoral area, constituency, regional, and at the national level. At the national level, the communication officer shall be designated the Director of Communications.
Mr. Chairman, the appointment of communication officers has, in many instances, been fraught with a lot of challenges, occasioned by perceptions of favoritism and lack of candor. Making the positions elective will afford the party delegate opportunity to select persons that they think can best communicate for the party. For the avoidance of doubt, the deputy directors of communications shall remain appointed. Respectfully submitted, Chairman.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 10. Amend Articles 710 and 97 of the Constitution to prevent party officers who get appointed into government from continuing to hold their offices.
Justification. Party officers who are appointed into government should not be allowed to hold dual positions. So long as they have accepted the appointment to serve in government, it is recommended that they focus on their mandate in government and give opportunity for other equally competent party members to occupy their positions in the party. It is also in line with the provisions in Clause 10 of Article 7 and Clause 7 of Article 9, which are intended to ensure that government appointees do not hold constituency, regional, and national executive offices. Chairman, respectfully submitted.
Delegates, those in favor of motion number 10, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 11. Amend Articles 726 and 924 of the Constitution to provide that any vacancy that may occur for whatever reason in the case of the constituency secretary and regional secretary shall automatically be filled by the deputy constituency and deputy regional secretary.
Chairman, the recommendation is as follows. The deputy constituency and deputy regional secretaries, just like the substantive constituency and regional secretaries, are also elected by the same delegates at the same conference. The deputy secretaries should be able to occupy the positions of the substantive secretaries in the absence of the latter. Respectfully submitted.
Delegates, those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 12. Amend Article 727 of the Constitution to give voting rights to national and regional officers at the Constituency Delegates Conference at the constituency they hail from.
Chairman, the amendment strengthens the connections between these officers and the respective constituencies they hail from, where they may also serve as patrons and source of logistical support. This amendment is also geared towards the proposed limited expansion of the Electoral College, pending the one-man, one-vote system.
Delegates in favor of motion number 12, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 13. Our respected and distinguished delegates, with great respect, shall we have some calm so that we carry out this exercise diligently and faithfully. Thank you. Motion number 13. Amend Article 727, 925, and 10.2 of the Constitution to provide that the party shall hold constituency, regional, and national delegates conferences every 2 years, that is biennially, instead of annually.
Chairman, this amendment looks at holding timely but necessary conferences across all levels of the party. There shall also be sufficient time to hold other equally important conferences within the period before the biennial conference. Where it becomes necessary, an extraordinary delegates conference may be called. Respectfully submitted.
Delegates in favor of motion number 13, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 14. Amend Article 727B of the Constitution to give voting rights to the electoral area executives at the constituency biennial delegates conference.
Chairman, currently, electoral area coordinators and all polling station executives have voting rights at constituency delegate conferences. The proposed electoral area executives, made up of the electoral area coordinator, to be now called electoral area chairperson, and 4 other executives should also have voting rights at the constituency delegates conference. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor of motion just ably recommended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 15. Amend Articles 729 and 927 of the Constitution to allow constituency and regional secretaries to present reports on the state of the party at the constituency and regional delegates conference with the prior approval of the constituency and regional executive committee, as the case may be.
Recommendation. Constituency and regional secretaries are the administrative heads of the constituency and regional secretariats of the party, and it is appropriate that they present a report on the state of the party to the constituency and regional party, respectively, to the delegates conference, with prior approval of the constituency and regional executive committee, as the case may be.
Those in favor of motion number 15, say aye. Those in favor against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 16. Amend Articles 729 and 927 of the Constitution to require the statement of accounts to be presented by the constituency and regional treasurers at the constituency and regional delegates conference to have received prior approval of the constituency and regional executive committee, as the case may be.
This amendment allows the constituency and regional executive committees to scrutinize and give a stamp of approval to the statements before they are presented at the Delegates Conference. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor, delegates, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 17. Amend Article 7.
Persons other than police station to supervise police station. Let's take it. No, 16. You are shouting 17. No, 17. Motion 17.
Delegates, I know you have your booklet.
It shows they've read it.
And you have also read it. Yes. So permit me to also read it, then you can respond. Thank you very much. Motion number 17. Amend Article 730 of the Constitution to provide that the Regional Executive Committee shall appoint persons other than polling station, electoral area, and constituency officers to supervise polling station and electoral area elections. Delegates in favor, say recommendation, sorry.
Dear delegates, please hear the recommendations. The recommendation is that constituencies are directly involved in the compilation of the album for organizing polling station and constituency elections. And therefore, it may be prudent that supervision of these elections be taken to the regional level to absolve it from any conflicting interest. Chairman.
My fellow delegates, those in favor of this motion, say aye. Yeah, I have so moved. Those against, say nay.
The nays have it.
Yeah. That is the beauty of our democracy. This time, the nays have it. So motion number 17 has suffered a knockdown. Motion number 18. Amend Article 8 of the Constitution to specifically provide that the external branches shall have 3 representatives on the National Executive Committee and 5 representatives on the National Council.
Chairman, the party constitution under Article 8.5 grants the external branches representation at the National Executive and the National Council, but does not indicate the number of representatives they should appoint to serve on these bodies. This amendment brings clarity to the number of representatives the external branches shall have on the National Executive Committee and National Council. Respectfully submitted, Chairman.
Those in favor of motion number 18, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes once again have it. Motion number 19. Amend Articles 8 and 13, 11 of the Constitution to specifically provide that all former and current executives of the external branches shall have voting rights at the presidential primaries.
Chairman, the amendment seeks to extend the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation. This is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion 20. Amend Articles 8 and 10(2)(f) of the Constitution to specifically provide that all current executives of the external branches shall have voting rights at the National Delegates Conference.
Previously, Chairman, only 12 executives of the external branches were allowed to vote at the National Delegates Conference. This amendment allows all of them to vote, promotes inclusivity and broader participation. The amendment is also in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor of motion number 20, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Number 21, amend Article 9 of the Constitution to include Regional Electoral Affairs Officer, Regional Research Officer. At this stage, note the decoupling of the two. Regional Legal Officer, Regional PWD Coordinator, and the Special Duties Officer as part of the Regional Executive Committee.
Chairman, this is in line with the proposed limited expansion of the Regional Executive Committee.
PWD, I explained early on, is persons with disability. Those in favor, delegates, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 22, amend Article 9(1) of the Constitution to expand the composition of the Regional Executive Committee members to include constituency secretaries.
Constituency secretaries are responsible for all administrative matters at the constituency level, and it is only proper that they are a part of the regional executive committees. Chairman, this is highly recommended.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Number 23 is a new provision, Article 9(1). Amend the Constitution by inserting a new provision to create a regional steering committee composed of the regional officers, chairman of the Regional Council of Elders, and regional parliamentary caucus chair.
The proposed amendment aligns with what pertains at the national level, where we have a national steering committee, which is the body in charge of the day-to-day administration of the party at the national level. The regional steering committee shall also be responsible for the day-to-day administration of the party at the regional level. The regional steering committee system shall facilitate decision-making at the regional level. Respectfully submitted.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 24, amend Articles 9, 10(2), and 13 of the Constitution to grant voting rights to the regional and national TESCON coordinators and the TESCON president from each recognized tertiary institution in the country at the regional and National Delegates Conference, respectively.
Chairman, the regional TESCON coordinators are in charge of coordinating all the activities of TESCON in the various tertiary institutions within the region. It is only proper to grant them voting rights at conference, just like the executives whose activities they coordinate. The same principle applies to the national TESCON coordinators. The specificity on the TESCON president, and not just any representative of TESCON avoids the usual challenge with validation of the representative from TESCON. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. 25. Amend Article 10.2 and 13.11 of the Constitution to grant voting rights to the TESCON president. The TESCON president, and not a representative from TESCON, from each recognized tertiary institution at the regional and national delegates conference.
Chairman, the specificity on the TESCON president, and not just any representative of TESCON, avoids the usual challenge with validation of the representative from TESCON. Recommended.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 26. Amend Article, this is a new provision, amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to include the consideration of position papers from sector committees of the party on key developments since the last National Delegates Conference at any current National Delegates Conference.
Chairman of Conference, the proposed amendment allows the National Delegates Conference to not only focus on speeches and election of national officers where necessary, but to also consider and debate reports submitted by the party's sector committees on key national issues and to pass appropriate resolutions on same. Highly recommended, Chairman.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 27. It is also a new provision. Amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to modify the composition of the sector committees under the National Executive Committee to include both members of Parliament and non-members of Parliament, as well as their functions.
This allows the party to marshal its available best brains to serve on the various sector committees, whether or not they are members of Parliament. Recommended.
Those in favor, delegates, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 28. Amend Articles 10.2.3e and 13 of the Constitution to make all members of the National Council of Elders delegates at the National Delegates Conference and the presidential primaries.
Chairman, considering the indispensable roles played by the National Council of Elders, they deserve more representation at the party's highest decision-making body. In any case, per Article 16, the membership of the National Council of Elders shall not exceed 30, out of which 15 are already members or delegates to the National Annual Delegates Conference. Motion number 28 is recommended, Chairman.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 29. Amend Article 10.3 of the Constitution to increase the representation of the National Council of Elders on the National Council from 1 to 5 members, including the chairman of the National Council of Elders.
Chairman, the National Council of Elders is the foremost advisory body of the party and therefore ought to be adequately represented at the second highest decision-making body of the party.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Number 30. Amend Article 10.3 of the Constitution to provide for 4 additional standing committees and enable the National Council to create new standing committees as and when the Council deem fit. The new 4 standing committees shall be the Electoral Affairs Committee, Communications Committee, Political Strategy and Policy Committee, and Security and Intelligence Committee.
The proposed additional standing committees to be created are indispensable and crucial in supporting the National Council and, by extension, the entire party to function more effectively. The amendment also grants the National Council the mandate to create additional standing committees as and when necessary.
Delegates in favor of motion number 30, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 31. Amend Article 10.3a of the Constitution to expand the composition of the Finance Committee from 6 to 10 members, in addition to the National Treasurer.
Chairman, this amendment expands the composition of the Finance Committee in order to enhance the effectiveness of the committee.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 32. Amend Article 10.3.2d of the Constitution to expressly provide that chairpersons of standing committees and directors at the party headquarters shall have voting rights at the National Council and consequently vote in the presidential primaries.
Chairman, this amendment admits chairmen of standing committees and directors at the party headquarters into membership at the National Council with voting rights.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 33. Amend Article 10.3.4 of the Constitution to include former majority and former minority leaders to the composition of the National Executive Committee and National Council.
The National Executive Committee stands to benefit immensely from the experiences of persons who have once led the party's parliamentary group as majority or minority leaders. This motion is recommended, Chairman.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 34 is a new provision. Amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to provide that the National Executive Committee shall, in consultation with the presidential candidate, develop the campaign structure and establish a campaign advisory committee to oversee the campaign team.
Chairman, this amendment deepens the collaboration between party and presidential candidates. Respectfully submitted.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 35 is also a new provision. Amend Article 10 of the Constitution by inserting a new provision to specifically provide that the national chairperson shall at all times be the leader of the party.
Chairman, the proposed amendment affirms the position of the national chairperson as the leader of the party at all material times. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 36. Amend Article 10(5) of the Constitution to specifically provide that the national chairperson shall chair the party's campaign advisory committee.
The national chairperson, as the leader of the party, should chair the party's campaign advisory committee to enhance collaborative work between the party and the campaign.
Delegates in favor say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Number 37. Amend Article 10(4)(2) of the Constitution to increase the representation of the parliamentary group on the National Executive Committee from 1 to 3, comprising the leader and 2 others, one of whom shall be a woman.
My chairman, the parliamentary group is a critical organ of the party. It is the group that champions the party's policies and agenda in the legislative arm. The amendment seeks to increase the representation of the parliamentary group on the National Executive Committee. This is strongly recommended, Mr. Chairman.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. The ayes have it. 38. Amend Articles 10(7)(3) and 10(8) of the Constitution to provide that the National Treasurer shall report to the General Secretary.
Chairman, it is the view that the General Secretary, as the party's Chief Administrative Officer and the Chief Executive Officer of the party, who has superintendence over all officers except the National Chairperson and Vice Chairpersons, should exercise superintendence over the National Treasurer. The amendment aligns with the administrative structure of the party.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 39. Amend Article 10(10) of the Constitution to remove the President from the composition of the National Steering Committee of the National Executive Committee.
The steering committee of the party is in charge of the day-to-day administration of the party and should comprise only the 10 elected officers, the presidential candidate, the parliamentary leader, and the chairman of the National Council of Elders.
Delegates in favor of motion number 39, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 40. Amend Article 11 of the Constitution to specifically include a provision that allows the Constituency Executive Committee to remove a polling station or electoral officer from office with the prior approval of the Regional Executive Committee upon receipt of a petition from a member.
Chairman, the current Constitution has no provision on how polling station and electoral area officers may be removed from office. This new provision clarifies this. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 41. Amend Article 11 of the Constitution to include a provision requiring the need for the body to be constituted by the Executive Committee to recommend removal before the summoning of an extraordinary delegates conference for the purpose of removing an elected officer from office and for specific timelines for the removal process of such elected officer.
Chairman, this amendment brings clarity in the removal of officers and avoids the convening of an extraordinary delegates conference without recommendation from the body constituted by the Executive Committee.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 42. Amend Article 11.7 of the Constitution to explicitly provide guidelines and procedure for the removal from office of an appointed officer or executive to be done by the relevant Executive Committee with prior approval of the immediately higher Executive Committee.
This amendment, Chairman, clarifies the process for removal of appointed officers. Submitted.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 43. That's a new provision. Amend the Constitution by inserting a new provision to provide that national officers, ministers, deputy ministers, CEOs, and other government appointees who fail to contest to become a parliamentary candidate of the party in a constituency with a sitting member of parliament shall resign their positions at least 12 calendar months to the national general elections.
Chairman, this is to ensure fair competition and a level playing field to all prospective aspirants for the position of parliamentary candidate. Recommended.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 44 is a new provision. Amend Articles 12 and 13 of the Constitution and insert a new provision to grant voting rights to former members of Parliament, former parliamentary candidates, former metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, former ministers, former deputy ministers who are card-bearing members of the party at the parliamentary and presidential primaries.
The amendment seeks to expand the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation, and is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 45 is a new provision. Amend Articles 12 and 13 of the Constitution and insert a new provision to grant voting rights to former constituency executives and former regional executives at the parliamentary and presidential primaries.
The amendment seeks to expand the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation, and is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 46. Amend Article 13(1)(6) of the Constitution to provide that national officers, ministers, deputy ministers, CEOs, and other government appointees who fail to become the presidential candidate of the party shall resign their positions at least 24 months to the national general elections.
This amendment, Chairman, is to ensure fair competition and a level playing field to all prospective aspirants for the flag bearership slot.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 47. Amend Article 1319 of the Constitution to completely abolish and do away with the Special Electoral College and Super Delegates system.
Chairman, the Special Electoral College system, which was introduced in the 2009 constitutional amendment to shortlist aspiring presidential candidates, is believed to have outlived its usefulness. This is recommended, Chairman.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 48. Amend Article 13(4) of the Constitution to provide for the election of a presidential candidate when the party is in government to a date not later than 18 months instead of 11 months before the national general elections.
Chairman, this amendment, if approved, will give the party's presidential candidate an extra 7 months to campaign before the general elections. Submitted.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 49. Amend Article 1311 to grant voting rights to 5 members of the Constituency Council of Elders and 10 members of the Regional Council of Elders at the presidential primaries.
These constituency and regional elders are members of the Constituency and Regional Delegates Conference, respectively. Polling station and electoral area executives who form part of the delegates to the Constituency Conference have been given voting rights at the presidential primaries. The exclusion of the elders is an omission which should be rectified. Respectfully submitted.
Motion number 50. Amend Article 1311 of the Constitution to include 30 national patrons and all members of the National Council of Elders to be part of the presidential primaries.
The National Council of Elders is the foremost advisory body of the party and therefore ought to be adequately represented at the second highest decision-making body of the party. The national patrons also occupy an important position in the party structure. The expansion of their members in the presidential primaries is therefore appropriate. Respectfully recommended.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. 51. Amend Article 1311 to grant voting rights to 5 constituency patrons and 10 regional patrons at the presidential primaries.
These constituency and regional patrons are members of the Constituency and Regional Delegates Conference, respectively. Polling station and electoral area executives who form part of the delegates to the Constituency Conference have been given voting rights at the presidential primaries. The exclusion of the patrons is an omission which should be rectified.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 52. Amend Article 1311 to grant voting rights to one TESCOM patron from every recognized tertiary institution in the presidential primaries.
52, right?
52.
Chairman, this amendment allows for inclusivity and broader participation. This is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 53. Amend Article 15(3) of the Constitution to make all female delegates at the National Delegates Conference eligible to vote for the position of National Women Organizer.
Chairman, the current regulations on the election of the National Women Organizer is not inclusive. This amendment, if approved by conference, will allow all female delegates, I repeat, all female delegates, to participate in the election of the National Women's Organizer. Recommended, Chairman.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 54. 54. Delegates, delegates, delegates. Delegates, delegates, delegates. Permit me to read.
Take the motion. Take the motion.
Hello. Mama Kromiyadin. Kromiyadin. 54. Amend Article 15(4) of the Constitution by defining youth in the Constitution to refer to a member of the party who is not above the age of 35 years.
My Chairman, the age limit for youth per all the international conventions and national laws shows that the highest age limit is 35. The UN puts the age bracket between 15 and 24 years, the WHO between 15 and 29, UNICEF between 15 and 24, the ILO between 15 and 24, the African Youth Charter between 15 and 35. In Ghana, the National Youth Authority Act, Act 939, defines a youth as a person between 15 and 35. My Chairman, views on this motion are very divided.
Distinguished delegates of conference, those in favor of motion number 54, say aye.